Right. So today we are going to discuss about an application or a case study, which is basically using artificial intelligence. Because as we all know, whenever the application development transformation is taken place, so whatever the application development nowadays are moving towards artificial intelligence side, Vegas moving towards artificial intelligence. So using different tools of artificial intelligence and all, developing the applications is becoming day by day increasingly important. In this regard, so whenever we are working on the application or a case study, here I am going to explain you about the case study. So which will be categorized into different parts. One is about, should know about the business situation first. Second, what solution in action to be taken place that will be taken in the next level. Next, what are the points to be considered during the development are we doing? Means what kind of bottlenecks we have addressed, etc. That part we discussed and all. Next, solution from the business perspective, because especially from the context of the role of a BA, if I say, because business analysts are the people who will be focusing more on the business side. Business solution is what something which being a BA one has to perform. So after that implementation, for that, what kind of technology, what kind of AI tools do we require to use? Either it can be TensorFlow, PySpark, or else it can be relating to Amazon SageMaker. If it is a cloud environment, it is AWS. So different cloud services, because the application development nowadays are moving to the cloud side. So cloud service provider choosing is also one of the prominent and important element, right? So that's where generally we need to understand the business perspective. So followed by the business perspective, we must be knowing about what are all the features, followed by the technologies which normally are we going to use. So this is a high level summary in context to the case study which I have taken. Now, who is the targeted people, right? So to who is the targeted audience for the case study, right? This is the first thing you need to know. So this is the case study, especially majorly useful for the people who are transforming their career in the field of business analysis, because business analyst people are the one who will be focusing more on providing business solutions for any of the customer requirements. So either it can be a service-based organization or it can be a product-based organization. In this regard, it's always important for the business analyst to understand about the kind of business situation, what they were in, and what kind of solution is something desirable for a customer or the market conditions. In connect to the artificial intelligence, in what way this artificial intelligence can be incorporated and integrated is what something we need to be focused more on. In this regard, the first thing being a business analyst, we need to understand the business situation. That is the first thing we have to do. So whenever we try to understand the business situation, as I mentioned you, this is a product development are we doing, which focusing more on the business situation by understanding the enterprises, which require some kind of software as a services, because normally cloud services are categorized into three different areas. So one is infrastructure as a service. Second is platform as a service. The third one about software as a service. Infrastructure as a service, majorly focusing on the infrastructure, whatever is required for an application to develop it. Means it either it can be, if you are taking Amazon and all that, Amazon EC2, right, Elasticsearch, right? So all these things are comes under the infrastructure part. So some sort of infrastructure will also be used in this regard, because that's the reason why if you can see here, right? So EC2, right? So Elasticsearch and all these things will be there. So infrastructure level understanding, infrastructure level development is required. Second one about platform as a service, means if you want to develop any solution and all, we required is complete platform to be created. So based on the platform what we have created, implementation will be taken further. The third one is software, because most of the applications required nowadays for any industry, for any enterprises, organizations, must be a software solution, because we need to develop a software which must be a cloud application, so that there won't be any kind of infrastructure cost, everything as separate. In this regard, so based on the market situation and all, there is some observation was made where they required some software as a service fitness platform. This must be connecting with some AI technology, right? So AI technology is nothing but artificial intelligence. Even machine learning is a part of AI technologies and all that. So machine learning is also part of the AI technology. Machine learning is a part of AI technology. So when it comes to the artificial intelligence, there are a lot of tools we use, as I stated, right? So there are different tools in context to artificial intelligence normally we use. For example, from the languages perspective and all, there are different languages like Python, all that stuff will be used. Anyway, this I'll explain you in coming time, right? So this is the point. So developing AI technology is what something which any user wants, because this allow users to access the category wise workouts and all at the same time, to watch the pre-training videos, right? So working out the modules, training plans, all these things are comes under this category. So at the same time, whenever we wants to enable the platform so that it can be useful to track and analyze the user data. At the same time, on the posture accuracy, user movements, workout times, calories burnt in real time. All these things is what something which a user expects, because when a user wants to manage and use a fitness monitoring application, right? So using some by enabling AI technologies and all everything. So these are the things required. So user movements required. So workout times, calories which was burned in real time, all that. At the same time, even clients also want a kind of application to be made available to the users on the subscription basis part also. Because based on the subscription, what they have taken, so the kind of services, what is that they require and all everything will be carried in this. This is what generally the business situation comes into picture. So the client perspective, business situation is one thing which we have to be focused more on. Second, solution in action. Now, what kind of solution are we trying to understand? Okay, so by analyzing the market situation and all, we are developing an software as a service tool, which is a cloud application, as I stated earlier. Majorly accurately calculate and track user motion, right? So using advanced motion tracking technologies and all that. Wherein this we are integrating with some AI-based algorithms, because when we are implementing artificial intelligence, when we are implementing some machine learning techniques, etc., all that, right? So using some Amazon SageMaker, etc., all that. Technical team, from the context of a technical team, because we need to have an understanding in a high level note that it's not only being a technical understanding is also needed, in fact. So artificial intelligence based algorithms into the tools is what something which we are integrating with it, because implementing different algorithms. So the kind of data structures and all everything, when we are writing down the programs, either it can be a Python programming or something, or PySpark, is what something which we have to be known with. Is what AI-based algorithms and all everything will be used in this. At the same time, we are also enabling the tool to access the user front cameras, so that it will be improving the accuracy of the motion tracking feature and all everything. So this is a one kind of solution in action which we have identified so far. Next, one more advantages is that users can take benefits of these tools by logging in through a subscription-based services and obtaining real-time feedbacks on their workouts from anywhere. So majorly this software as a service tool, which can be used by the people who are providing fitness services for their customers, like gym trainers and all. so that it will be offered to the personalized fitness challenges, progress trackers, digital real-time feedback to the clients to help them to optimize their training goals for that regard. Now, during the development phase, what kind of bottlenecks we have faced so far and what are all to be considerable points is what something to be understood with. There are possibilities because we need to understand the constraints, assumptions, dependencies. That also should be understood. What are the possible bottlenecks? What are the possible assumptions or dependencies that should be considered? So that sort of understanding is required. In this regard, so false information about the exercises might be one of the threat we may be facing. So that has to be corrected with. At the same time, errors in the accuracy of information on the exercise results in the issues of reliability. At the same time, complexity when we want to determine any kind of correcting the data sets for the application, lack of proper AI integration, because as in when we want to implement some artificial intelligence in the application development, proper use of AI integration must be done 100% to an extent possible, I can say. Depends on the expertise what team is having and all. So that has to be, that is one of the biggest bottleneck can be focused, right? So might be. Next, issues in the workload recommendations and all. Followed by this, what are the difficulties in securely storing the user data, right? So all these things at the same time, make sure tracing the data accurately. At the same time, the kind of visualization data what we wants to visualize must be adequate. Maybe it may be inadequate, right? So our incorrection in context to the detections of and the poses, right? So either it can be horizontal or vertical poses and all using by AI algorithms, right? These are all the bottlenecks to be considered when you are developing any kind of solutions. Now, from the solution from the business perspective, what are all the solutions are we going to provide from the business perspective? We focus more on improving the workout recommendations so that accuracy in context of real-time motion detection will be possible. At the same time, we are by considering the bottlenecks into consideration, adding horizontal and vertical scaling within the application so that the poses, yoga poses and all everything can be captured so that we'll be seeing about how effectively they are working out, right? So that can be detected and identified. At the same time, identification and removal of errors in codes, upgrading AI algorithms and all. So different artificial intelligence algorithms now and then we are using. At the same time, recommending the kind of engine for better workout recommendations and all. Next, we have to optimize the database using Elasticsearch, especially when we are working on AWS cloud service providers using Elasticsearch for advanced data management. So this is also one of the infrastructure element which will be focused more on. Next, we need to understand and adding the filters for workout parameters because different filters making people to understand it more easy. At the same time, the kind of AI motion tracking to provide real-time feedbacks on workout accuracies will also be provided in this regard as a solution. Along with this, we are going to introduce some algorithms for accurate workout suggestions by integrating real-time notification for users, at the same time connecting and providing an option or a feature to connect with coach for the users. So these are the solutions from the business perspective, being a business analyst, whenever we need to identify. To what extent practical it is possible for us to implement feasibility, technical feasibility and all, technical people will be taken care of. What kind of AI algorithm tools, what kind of AI tools to be used. Those are all will be decided by them, but understanding over the business perspective from the solution level is what something which we have to be known with. Next, we must be knowing about the features. What are all the features are available? When it comes to the features and all, there are different features like hardware and wearable integrations are one of the feature. Next, workout recommendations are required so that depends on the individual who is doing, who is performing the fitness, participating in the fitness programs and the activities. We need to provide some workout recommendations to them. At the same time, training on the analytical progress log so that we'll be knowing about the progress and digital dashboards, etc. So as in term, real-time data analysis and dashboards are required. At the same time, real-time feedback is required so that to improve the quality services, what is that are we going to provide? So at the same time, some kind of pre-recorded sessions when it is required. So customer training metrics, tracking metrics, say motion tracking. So these are all the features which normally are we identified. So when we want to develop some fitness application in connect to the artificial intelligence, when we are developing a cloud-based solution and all. Based on that, what kind of technology is required? So who are our stakeholders? What kind of technical aspects do we require to consider is what something which has to be decided. Now, from the context of artificial intelligence integration in the implementation part, there are different languages and the technologies are comes under picture. I don't advise and I don't say that everything we use in real time because somebody using a Python as a programming language, right? So somebody may be using Swift language or somebody may be using some statistical programming called R or something like. At the same time, when it comes to the frameworks and all everything, somebody may be using some PySpark, PyTorch, AutoML, TensorFlow, right? So at the same time, different libraries like Pandas, right? So at the same time, Seaborn, Databricks. So different data management and libraries we are using. At the same time, to deploy any and monitoring the applications and all different tools, especially in AWS, we have a tool called SageMaker, AWS SageMaker. I made a video on SageMaker earlier, which I'll provide a link to you in the description box below. So either we can use Azure Cloud Services also for deployment and monitoring and all. And implementing some neural networks, of course, that is something depends on the complexity of the project. This can be used. At the same time, as far as the project management tools itself is concerned, when we are transforming our application to an agile environment, not from the traditional point of view, from the agile point of view, need to have a knowledge over, we may be using Jira or Trello or Slack, right? So, or else Azure, or else it can be Asana, right? So, DevOps platform. These are all the technical expertise which technical team will identify. What kind of technical expertise is required and all everything will be identified by them in advance. So based on that, subsequent implementation will be done accordingly. So if you are a business analyst, whenever to have a knowledge over to have some practical exposure, I don't say experience, unless until we don't work on the real world, we don't get experience. But end of the day, exposure is more important. To have some exposure to attend effectively, to address your interviews or to have some live understanding, all that. It's always important for being a business analyst to understand about the kind of case studies and how this can be implemented, right? So you need to understand the objectives, goals, you need to write down some documentations. These are all the things which is required for any business analyst has to perform. This is all about this video. If you have any questions, if you have any queries as well as training catching needs and all that, please reach out to the contact details, which will be provided below to this video. Thank you.
Hello,
Hello.
can I talk to Mr. Rajesh?